I got to drop some knowledge for us. Now, it's fascinating, actually. Do you know that certain companies, especially like airlines, and one in particular, Southwest Airline, the way they avoid like their planes taking off later than they should, the way they avoid their planes arriving later and all that stuff, the way they organize at some airports movement of their passengers, like where their passengers go. Do you know what they study? What animal they study? They study a certain creature to mimic the way their company should be organized.
Ants.
Ants, sir. Ants, you motherfucker. You stud. Ants. Because ants have, and birds and schools of fish have what's called swarm intelligence. And so and we're building robots according to that. And it's kind of fascinating because there's no leader in those groups. There's no leader. So when you watch a flock of birds fly in patterns, and you watch schools of fish when a predator shows up, or even like wildebeest or caribou when a wolf shows up, it'll look like a blanket's unfolding. Well, they just start to run. And nobody is leading the way, but they confuse the animal. They confuse the predator. The sardines will confuse the tuna fish coming in to bite them. Or birds can do the same thing. And what it is that the way it works is on three basically principles. You are next to the person that you're flying next to, or you're swimming or whatever. And the way you do it is the rule is don't crowd them out, stay with them, and
you're a team.
You're a team.
Yeah.
So you only pay attention to whoever is right next to you, and essentially you give them space, you follow their lead as well, you do what they're doing. And the collective sort of hive intelligence, it's kind of the wisdom of crowds, that collective movement somehow is really effective at not only evading predators, but also finding the best route. So ants will do incredible things where they'll find the best route for foraging, for finding food and finding a home, and they'll lay pheromones. And you can kind of create algorithms for how to move and how to move populations. Your passengers,
think we should get an ant farm in here.
Well, we should, but bees do something amazing too. Like they'll do the same thing. Bees are fucking fascinating. Well, they took 6 hives. And one hive was perfect. The other hives were just a little too small. And usually colonies are about 50,000 bees. When they get more than that, they'll break apart.
A lot of bees.
Yeah, a queen will go away with it. They'll find another home. But what they'll do is the scout bees will go out and they'll find the hives. And usually when it gets to be about 15 scouts, they'll go, all right, guys, they'll look at it, they'll measure it somehow they measure it, they figure out how big it can be. They fly back to the hive and they start doing a dance. And depending on how enthusiastic the dance is, people go, okay, these guys know where to go, and then they'll follow the scouts to the new home. Here's the thing. You got 6 different hives to choose from. The scouts from the one that was perfect, they come back and they start dancing, and this is 50,000 bees. They start dancing, and they're like, hey, look, they do this dance. And sure enough, all 50,000 bees don't go, because they checked out all the hives, all different scouts. 50,000 bees follow the scouts that found the hive that's perfect, and they fly right into that hive. Because it's fucking amazing. They have so much intelligence, but it's swarm intelligence. So the idea is they're trying to organize a lot of companies this way. Where there's there's no real boss, where everybody, the most important thing is that everybody has to, because what's really, what happens is,
but bees have bosses.
They
ants
don't really.
They
don't. Well, so ants have a queen. Leader. So what I've read is queen ants, like how long like a soldier ant, so a male ant will live how long versus the queen? The queen will live, guess how long? Up to 35 years. Like a regular male ant, this is some colonies, will live like 24 hours. It's kind of crazy. Wow. It's a vast difference. But what's fascinating is that decisions in companies now, a lot of times when they try to organize the best they can, is that what really matters is that you allow everybody to have their own ideas and all the ideas compete so that nobody's like the bully with the idea. Because sometimes people's personality can push the idea through, but it's not the best idea. And people aren't confrontational. They're like, fuck, let them win. But better is when you're trying to solve a problem, everybody has ideas. Let them come together.
Present their ideas, but then you got to select one.
Well, so this is why, like, this is what's amazing. They study this, like betting for horse races. The reason the odds are always like, so everybody, like they take the aggregate pool of everybody who places their bets. And the way they do it is they look at everybody who bets on certain horses. The odds are always in conjunction with how, like, what the crowd says is the most likely winner. And what the crowd says is the most likely unwin. So, because people bet on superstition and bullshit.
That's how betting works in general.
Yeah,
though.
but when you look at the reason, the way the odds work is that you take, and I didn't know this, you take what the crowd says, the wisdom of that crowd will point to certain winners. And that's how you can judge. Because when crowds get together, nobody's telling you how to think, but you're making your own aggregate thing based on all your data as a bettor. When you pool that together, you can usually predict who's most likely going to be the winner. That's why long shots are always long shots.
Well, that's everything, though, B. That's how it works with like in Vegas. And
odds, right? So that's how they make the odds.
That's how they make the odds.
So
because you see maybe the odds come out. It's Conor McGregor's plus 1,200. Floyd Mayweather's minus 3,000, and a lot of money. If the public puts a ton of, then the odds change.
Wow. So that's swarm intelligence. Yeah. That would be swarm intelligence. That's fascinating that groups are so much smarter than individuals. And if you want a really successful company, what they say is make sure everybody has their own ideas.
That's interesting. I don't know. I think it's case by case.
No,
right?
that is not case by case, because that is how rules are. Well, that's how essentially
because most companies
democracies work too. Even I mean, ideally. And companies are starting to organize that way, because that's
I think
certainly
you need a guy like Steve Jobs who's going to have
a visionary.
Because if you're going by the masses, I don't know if I agree with that.
But there's a good distinction there. So you need somebody who's going to be a visionary who invents something. Okay, so you're going to
need a leader,
innovators
who thinks different than the crowd.
Yes.
Otherwise, everyone's going to be the same.
Yeah. This is a little bit different though. So innovators, 100%. You need. That's why individuals should be rewarded for their work, right? So you want innovators. So there's this huge patent war going on with CRISPR, that gene editing, and you need to reward the innovators, the geniuses that come up with the original idea. What we're talking about is how to run a company. So how do you, when you have a product like Apple and stuff, you want to be able to run the company the most efficiently, and all the ideas need to be taken into account based on the same idea of like odds in Vegas. You want to have
everyone to be heard.
You want a pool where everybody has the ability to express their ideas, and then that will kind of come up with the best idea. That would be the idea. Yeah. I agree, though. I think you're 100% right that be careful, because we're not talking about communism and collective thinking. What you also need is to give space for the smartest guy in the room,
to make
the innovator, the genius.
And then you guys
100%.
With your skills would help create that.
Yes.
And maybe you're going to add to that idea. But there's a reason why we have Mark Zuckerberg,
correct,
Steve Jobs.
Correct.
And
they should be rewarded.
Elon Musk says something, I don't want the rest of you to chime in. I get the whole theory and stuff like that. I don't want you guys to chime in. I'm gonna listen to Elon Musk.
Yeah,
the king bee. Here.
Well, but also I bet you, I would imagine Elon Musk, part of how his company is driven is also in the fact that those guys are good organizers.
Yeah, but it starts with him, and then you guys organize.
Yes. All of history is moved by individuals. It seems.
There's very special people. I think you don't want to.
Correct. You don't want to stifle that with group.
You don't want to
thinking.
water it down.
Yes.
We don't need McDonald's everywhere.
100%.
We need leaders.
Yeah.
Ba-boom!
There is the dropping knowledge. Yeah.